first of all, how many of you have ever Googled ethical leadership? 19 million entries. So you say to yourself, where do we begin? And what does this look like? So for me, ethical leadership is not about something that you do, it's about who you are. Because leadership starts from the inside out. And if you're going to be an ethical leader, you have to start and do the work inside. And many people talked about that this morning, that you can't be something that you aren't. You can't just try some tricks and say, this is going to work. So you have to do a lot of your own inside work in order to become an ethical leader. I want to talk very briefly about a possible way of defining ethical leadership, some ways in which you can look at yourself as to how do you develop and strengthen the whole notion of ethical leadership, and maybe what are some of the characteristics involved in ethical leadership. So ethical leadership is composed of three things. It's knowing your values, it's having the courage to live out of those values, and it's making sure that it is done in the service of the common good. It's not about you. Leadership is about the other people. I'm a strong advocate of servant leadership. That part of my job as a leader is to make sure other people grow and develop and become stronger leaders as a result of it. So it's doing the right things. We've heard a lot of the cliches about ethical leadership. But some things that you need to know about ethical leadership is ethical leaders don't always win. They don't always come out first, and sometimes they get ignored. So just because you're an ethical leader, it doesn't mean you're going to win. It doesn't mean you're going to come out on top. But the issue is, can you stick with your values in spite of it? Because sometimes people win because they're willing to compromise their values and to take a different approach. But ethical leaders don't. They hold their values at all times in what they're doing. And you cannot be ethical in one part of your life and not be ethical in another part of your life. And we see a lot of that today. People whose personal lives do not exude ethical behavior, but whose public life they think should be ethical, or just the reverse. Public, they try to be ethical, but personally they're not. You can't be something in one part of your life and not be it in all parts of your life. So you have to make sure that you really are ethical in everything that you do. And the real notion about ethical leadership is the power of actually being a person of integrity. Walk your talk, do what you say. When you make a commitment, stick to that commitment. So it's all about who you are and what it is that you do with your life.